Ladies and gentlemen, after literally years of waiting, and years of, I would say, kind of destroying a lot of the goodwill that consumers had for Mobvoi, they are finally rolling out Wear OS 3.5 for the TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra GPS and the TicWatch Pro 3 GPS. Let's take a look now. So this is Old Faithful. This is the Mobvoi TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra, and I am indeed running Wear OS 3.5. If we come down here to System and then System Updates, we'll let this do its thing for just a second, and you'll see there, Android 11, October 5th is the security update. Not a whole lot has really changed. You still have your tiles looping in either direction on that home screen. You can see there, you can go either way. You have your quick settings with a swipe down, and then your notifications with a swipe up. You can still long press to change between your different watch faces. I think by and large, it's performing okay. It's not quite as fast as something like the Pro 5 or the Pixel Watch or something like that with a newer, much faster processor. But I think that it's doing a pretty decent job. This new version of Wear OS is supposed to offer some faster app loading times, like 30% faster is what they're saying. It's supposed to be optimized a bit better for battery life as well. I've not tested really extensively either one of these things, but those are features that are apparently supposed to be there with these newer versions of Wear OS. Something else that's changed is you no longer need the Mobvoi app. You in fact have to have the Mobvoi Health app, and this is a different application that is required now for pairing this device. When you go through that update process, it's going to factory reset the device, and then you're gonna have to go through that resetup process, and as part of that process, it's gonna tell you to install this application. And it's pretty straightforward, right? You've got your categories for all your health tracking there. This is the same app that you do use with the Mobvoi Pro 5, so you may or may not be familiar with that already. You've got your device section here where you can jump into some of the different settings on your watch. All this stuff is configurable from the application itself. You do have access to the Health Connect application, which I've not actually set up because I don't actually plan on like daily driving this setup again, but you can set up Health Connect, which will basically merge the data you're collecting here with Google Fit. So that's definitely a good thing to have access to as well. Basically, it has just sort of caught up with their current watches in terms of the applications and the software that it is now running. One way that I wish it hadn't caught up is the fact that Google Assistant is no longer compatible with this watch. So if you had it programmed to long press on one of these buttons, perhaps, I think that's how that worked before, that is no longer going to be a thing. Even if you go to the Play Store and try and launch it, or try to install it, I should say, from the Google Play Store, that is also not going to work. It's just a thing that isn't functional with most of these Wear OS 3 and 3.5 watches. I don't know why that is the case, why Google is not allowing people to do that, but it's just where we are, unfortunately. You can see you're searching for Assistant, and it is simply not going to pull up Google Assistant. That is quite the bummer for me. I guess the phrase better late than never might apply here, although I do still think that this whole debacle has probably done a lot of damage to people's perception of Mobvoi. When I reviewed the TicWatch Pro 5, which is an outstanding smartwatch, I got loads of comments from people saying, yeah, that's great, but when it doesn't get an update for 3 years, you're going to feel differently about it. And yeah, that would definitely be the case. If this becomes a trend where they release these watches and then just don't update them for years, that would be a big knock against Mobvoi. Now, of course, they have stated that part of the problem was that these watches before, the Pro 3 Ultra included in this, had this sort of weird dual processor setup, and something about that made this process much more difficult personally. I don't really accept that as an excuse because you designed the watch. This was a decision that you made, and so you have to be held accountable for the end results of these decisions. Still, maybe it's a reason. It's never an excuse. Maybe it's a reason, and maybe the fact that with the Pro 5, they went with just the W5 processor that's more of a typical standard off-the-shelf part, no dual co-processor nonsense. Maybe that will allow them to update it quicker. Only time will tell. Guys, let me know what you think about this. Did you jump off the bandwagon? Are you still using your Pro 3 Ultra? Are you excited about this? How does it make you feel about them going forward? Sound off in those comments down below, guys. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.